Hi, I'm Alex Archbold, and I've been buying and selling antiques since I was 9 years old. From basements to scrapyards, I'll look just about anywhere I can to find lost antiques and collectibles. And sometimes I'll go big and buy everything. I never know what's going to happen or who I'm going to meet. This is our life, this is our adventure, and this is Curiosity Inc. Hi everybody and welcome to today's episode. I have been working my way through the 67 Ferrari 330 GT for the last week or so here. And since I got it, well, I've given it a little bit of a polish to clean it up a bit more. But we have some work to do this episode. In this episode, I am going to try and start the car. It's got new plugs. I've cleaned the contacts. It's had penetrating oil sitting in it for a little while. Checked the oil, topped it up. It looks good. I will do a proper oil change on it, but I'm not going to run it like this. I'm just going to basically get it started and make sure it goes. The other thing I'm going to do today is I got to get this bumper off because, let me show you. The bumper, although it looks like it was re-chromed at some point, the car was in improper storage, and I think this is from rodents. See the telltale trail where they tootled along here. And mice pee as they go, and it's acidic. Maybe they had a little nest in the corner here. Either way, the chrome is completely eaten away in that one spot. Now, parts of this would clean up. I'm sure I could probably take, some very fine grit steel wool or some chrome polish and get most of that out, but I still have the little tiny pits in there, and that just won't do. Front bumper seems to be okay, so at least I just have a back to do. So we're gonna get this bumper pulled off here, and I gotta drive it 3 hours to Calgary because that's the nearest chrome shop. We don't have one in our city right now, so I'll be going on a road trip with the bumper, possibly, I guess, on this episode. So first things first, I've got my tools out, and we're gonna figure out what size wrenches we need and get this thing pulled off. First thing I gotta do is take off the license plate lights, which were bolted on from the underside. I will put those somewhere safe in a minute. I've got one off. This one is now off as well, because those won't go in. Next, there are bumper brackets, which have bolts here and there and on the corners. So I'm going to start by taking off, excuse me, a couple of the bolts off of the bracket here. I don't want to have this swinging around wildly while I'm taking these bolts off, so I'll probably leave the sides attached for now until I get these guys off, because I've had it happen before. You loosen those first and you drop this down and that thing swivels up and could scrape your paint all up. I don't want that to happen, so I'm going to be extra careful this time. Okay, well, after a bit of work, I got the bumper apart, and it comes apart in 3 pieces. And then we've got the bumper ends, which I have soaking because one of the bolts, I didn't break it off, but somebody at some point broke a bolt off. I guess I may as well show you rather than just talk about it. Right there. See, I got that one out. Somebody else couldn't get that one out, so I'm going to try and extract it, but I put some liquid wrench penetrating oil in there first. And actually both of them had a bolt broken off inside, so we're going to let that soak for a bit. I figured, since I'm going to the chrome shop to take that bumper in, I might as well take the bumper corners of the Jag in too, because they're pretty faded and scuffed up. The back bumper's not too bad, but the fronts are not great. So I'm making the trip anyway. I'm gonna pull these off and add them to the pile. Bumper is off on the Jag. Rear bumper is off on the Ferrari. And I've polished kind of around where the bumper was and cleaned up the chrome on the exhaust tips. But now it is time for me to try and actually start this car. I got the air cleaner off. I'm gonna put just a little splash of gas in each of the carburetors just to prime it. And then we'll turn the key and see if anything happens. What an exciting day. Well, let's hope it's exciting. I'm gonna open up the garage door so I don't gas myself out in here. All right, getting close to the big moment. Looks like most of the cleaner I put on the seat, or the conditioner, is absorbed in. I'll do another coat of that. Okay guys, there is a trick to this. you actually have to turn the fuel pump on, and then that light comes on. Auto flux. That is supposed to be turning on my, I'm gonna keep my foot on the brake right now. Come on. Whoa! Whoa! Little, you hear that? Actually, that sounds half decent. Tach is working, fuel gauge is not. That meter is working. Is it gonna idle? Kind of keep an eye on the carbs up there. Okay, I got smoke coming from somewhere. Where do we got smoke coming from? Maybe it's just off the manifold. What is smoking? I'm trying to see where that smoke's coming from. See that? It might just be maybe residual oil or something from the manifold. I don't see anything on fire down here. Never a good sign when you see smoke pouring off of the exhaust, but this car hasn't been started in a really long time. Okay. No fires that I can see. I'm gonna see if it starts again. It's nerve-wracking. Sitting behind the wheel and I'm seeing a bunch of smoke billowing out. Okay, let's try this again. Okay. Start it right up. Where the heck is that smoke coming from? Listen to that. Actually, doesn't sound terrible. I'm sure it's gonna need a tune-up, but that thing is idling incredibly smooth for 12 cylinders. And I got that smoke coming back on the manifold. Oh, and feel the idle kind of kicking down a bit. Give it a little bit of gas. Oil pressure. Oil temperature doesn't come up for about 30 minutes of driving. So my gas gauge isn't working. Let's see, radio. Okay, radio's working. Listen to that. Okay, it does have something weird going on with the ignition. It's very touchy. Like, it tries to start in accessory. Like, what the heck? You gotta have it just in the right spot. Okay, I'm gonna turn the fuel pump off. Oh, come on, I gotta start it one more time. Boy, she starts like a darn now. Idle's really good. So yeah, I was having trouble with my window switch here. And I still am. I'm gonna have to get a new switch. This one's working very slowly. Oh, well, slow in the up position anyway, but that one's working. Passenger side is not. I'll have to use that little crank I found in the glove box. Okay, I have a running Ferrari. Do I have headlights? Oh, I guess I probably have to have an accessory, which I don't really want to turn it on because it might try and start the car. Okay. No horn. Let's see. Yeah, I got headlights. Don't hear anything happening with the signal lights. That could just be a flasher. I hear the horn relay. But no horn. That's gonna have to get addressed. Little things, let's see, do I have a fan? Hear that? Fan works. Secondary fan works. So, some things work. Oh, there we go. That wasn't the signal light on the other side. So I do have signal lights. So that's my signals. Maybe that's cruise. No, I don't think this car is cruise. You know, I've got to get an owner's manual. I really do. Okay, it works. I'm gonna go disconnect the battery. I do have to get that clutch working though, which means I'm gonna have to bleed the slave cylinder. But I might wait to do that until I get my hoist so I can get underneath it. But it is a running vehicle now, at least anyway. That's a big bonus, and it's a shinier running vehicle. See, shiny. All right, well, I'm gonna put the air cleaner cover back on because I don't want anything falling in there. I had it off, obviously, because I just put gas down the carbs, and I'm waiting for the air cleaners to come, which should be here soon. But for this car to be roadworthy, it's gonna have to have a few things done to it still. We're gonna have to get the horn working. I believe I'm gonna have to get that radiator record. Not 100% sure, but it looks like it's got a couple punctures in it, which is not great. We got upholstery coming back in, clutch has to be made to work, bumper has to go back on. But really, making some good progress here today. Oh, and incidentally, while I had the leather conditioner out, I put some on the one and only tool bag I have. I wish I had the proper toolkit for this. I only got half of it, which was the jack and the hammer. And I don't know if I showed you guys the hammer on the first day. That's the original mallet. This is what you use to take the ears on and off. You'd think this would destroy the chrome, but it's lead. So it doesn't do any damage to the brass, chrome-plated brass ears on that. You can hammer the heck out of it, and people have. You're only supposed to hammer it off when it's up in the air, and then hammer it on snug, not to the point where you destroy a hammer like this. I did find a shop in town, and the guy was actually making his own, and they're almost the exact replica of the original, same type of pipe and everything. So this is my replacement. That's what that hammer is supposed to look like. If I paint the handle yellow, it'll be pretty much a exact fit. But we're gonna let the leather conditioner sit on that for a bit and let it get nice and soft. But I'm going to work my way around the car, getting things polished and cleaned up, and then tomorrow it's off to the chrome shop. I've decided to come inside the house to work on the non-functioning window switch. These are, I can't even find an exact replacement to this, but the replacement that they do make, the Ducellier window switch, they're $580 US as a replacement. So if I can get in there and clean the contacts up and make it work again, well, that's 500 bucks I can spend on cheese. I think I discovered the problem. You can see the contacts in there. There's the upper left one I've given a bit of a cleaning to, but the others are scored. See that little silvery burn mark in the middle? Not gonna make a great contact that way. So I'm gonna clean the feet on the bottom of the rocker and clean the contacts, reassemble it, and hope to heck this thing works because, well, it'll just be nice to be able to fix something. Contacts are clean, and I've cleaned up the plastic on the inside there of any sort of dust and debris. I'm gonna do the same to the contacts on the underside of the switch and put it all back together. And if it doesn't work, that's okay, because at least I'll rule out the switch as being a problem. Then it would be the window motor, but I'm gonna do my best here. Well, I have made it to sunny and not so foggy Calgary, Alberta. And I've come here to go to a place called Alberta Plating, which is the closest plating shop to me. It's 3 hours from my house, so it's not exactly close, but at least there is one kind of a drive away. I've brought down my bumpers and a license plate frame and a few other things to get plated. I'm gonna pop indoors and do the big drop. Well, next time I see all this stuff, it should be nice and shiny. I'm gonna go take it over to the plating place, which is right there. And geez, I think go grab lunch. I'm getting hungry. So these are the corners of the Jag. You can kind of see the plating. When you hold it far away, you can't really tell. When you get up close, you can see why I brought it in. The plating's worn. It's been polished lots. There's not much left of it. So the Ferrari bumper, obviously, it's actually missing some plating, so a little bit more extreme, but no holes, thankfully. And the license plate frame for that Parisian European license plate that was custom fit for that Ferrari, and I don't think I'd ever find another one anywhere. It's really pitted. Pot metal is a little more challenging, but they'll sand it, they'll fill it, they'll repair that crack that's there, and everything's gonna get treated, and it's kind of a miracle what these guys do, you know, to bring this stuff back to life. And I'm excited. There's nothing like getting freshly chrome bumpers back. It usually comes wrapped in paper or something. It's just like Christmas. So about 5 or 6 weeks from now, we'll have a little shiny Christmas present waiting for us. Well, that's done. They said it's gonna be about 5 or 6 weeks before they have it completed, just because they've got a little bit of a backlog there. But he did say that he's gonna be driving to Edmonton around that time, and he might just be able to bring it with him, which the timing would be great. And I won't have to do the trip again. So I guess we'll check back in on that down the road and see how they turn out. Okay, well, here is the update on the switches. The switch didn't work. So I put it on the driver's side, which I knew was working, and it did work there. So that tells me that it's not the switch itself anymore, it's the window motor in there. So I'll worry about that later on. I put the window up using the little hand crank I found in the glove box. And I need the windows up because tomorrow, after what was a very long wait, we have the hoist, the 4-point hoist coming in right where this car is sitting. And that means I've got to actually push the car out, because although it's starting and running now, excuse me, I don't have a clutch, and I'm not about to throw it in gear without a clutch or ability to disengage it. And although the brakes seem working, this isn't the car I want to take any kind of risks on. So I will gently push it out the door, and that means that all this other stuff back there has got to get shoved to the side as well. But that's tomorrow. I think basically now that I've got the area all around the car cleaned up so the workers can work and get the lift installed, I'm going to clean all the glass, do a little bit of extra work on the car in terms of cleaning, and prepare for this lift to come in, which would be great timing too, because I need to bleed the hydraulic clutch, and that's done from the underside of the car. Having a lift like that will make it super easy, or much easier anyway. So I'm going to get a little bit of extra work done. Oh, and by the way, I got the as you know, the bumper is over at the chrome shop, but I dismantled the backup lights and refinished those, got those basically ready to go back in. Just been doing sort of little things in preparation for the reassembly of the car. Again, the intention here isn't for this to be a full-on restoration. It's to basically make this car that is an older restoration back into a driver again. So yeah, I guess next thing you'll see will be tomorrow, and me pushing the car outside and the lift getting installed. So exciting times for old Alex over here. And I'm gonna be excited to be able to get underneath the car too and do a lot of detailing, cleaning, and tinkering down there. Well, it's pretty well all cleared out, ready for them to do the install. I've shoved the Ferrari back in the corner with the motorcycles and stuff. I've created sort of this path here so they can back up to the door, carry their stuff through here and right over to where they need to build it. I'm excited to have an actual proper piece of shop machinery in here. I'll be able to actually get underneath things, do a little bit more work, save myself from crawling around. Oh, they should be here any minute. Oh, and this, by the way, in winter in Canada, when they sand the roads, it collects on your vehicle and it drops off when it gets warm. So somebody said, what are all these stains on your floor? It's not stains, it's just basically sand, because Melissa and Steven have been parking in here, and will hopefully continue to park in here. Except for right now, I've booted them outside so I can make room for these guys, but that'll just wash up. Basically, I've done it a few times so far this year where I've just swept and washed it. It's been just fine. Okay, now the big weight. Well, it is bright and early, and the guys are here with the trailer full of my dreams. I guess they're gonna go assess it out. I had to move Melissa's vehicle out of the way so they could get in there after they've backed in, and off I go. They had the big trip from Calgary, Alberta today. Oh, they've only got one signal light working. I'll have to let them know on the trailer. We'll maneuver and we'll go chat with the guys. So the lift comes kind of pre-packaged in this, I wouldn't say crate, but this framed little setup here. Hard to imagine that that will turn into a car hoist, but that's the idea. And my moving the vehicles out of the way worked out perfect because there was enough room for the guys to offload and back the trailer right in here. So we've decided, that's not exactly where that's gonna be, but we've decided that the handle for the electrical stuff is gonna be on this corner, so we can kind of scoot that a little closer to the wall, which will give me a bit more length in case I do end up getting longer vehicles that need to go in that area. They're just kind of getting it prepped and ready. Apparently they know what they're doing. They said, yeah, we're gonna be fast. Are you guys heading back to Calgary today?
Yeah, I got one more lift to build out in red here that's already on site.
Okay.
Another monster one.
So on the way home?
Yeah, it'll be a pretty early day. Hopefully if things go smooth.
Awesome. Yeah, I was surprised. I was just in Calgary yesterday, and you guys have like no snow there. Yeah.
It's all like real winter out here.
We do. I've come back inside the house because I know from doing work as a trade at one point myself that it's kind of annoying when you have the owner of the property just watching you do your work. So I'm gonna let them do their thing and stay out of the way. I told them if they need me for anything at all, just come knock on the door and I'll give them a hand. But I think for now I'll stay out of their way, let them do their job, and we'll go back and check on it once it's more or less done. And then I gotta put all the cars back in the garage too. But a fun day and another good step forward in making my garage a good little workspace out there. Well, look what's happened. I have a lift in my garage now, and it's perfectly positioned by the window. I don't know what difference that makes, but it's kind of nice to have it more or less centered there. So I guess the artistic eye, the wanting it to be symmetrical. Anyway, it gives me enough room that I can actually still open doors and close doors on both sides of the vehicle. The only problem is that if you have a car that's not running, you got to push it up, or I'm going to have to put a little winch on the end of it there, which I don't have just yet. So at some point later today, I'm going to have to convince my teenagers to help Dad push the Ferrari up on the lift, so we can get that out of the way and get this garage cleaned back out. But I have to get the other vehicles, the Citroen and the Jag, back in here because, well, this is where they belong. And I'm hoping that they start. They've been sitting outdoors for hours now in the cold, and I don't know what they're like in winter. I hope they're going to be okay. I guess we'll find out. It's turning into a cold start video. Will a 1966 Jag start after sitting in the cold? Let's find out. Well, it's cranking over. Mind you, I don't hear the fuel pump. Let's get that choke on. Come on. Oh. There she goes. A little unhappy with me. There. Car number one, success. All right, car number two. Will a 1972 Citroen SM with a fussy Maserati engine, will it start? I don't even know if this choke does anything, to be honest. I've never actually used it, but we'll try today. Oh, it started right up. It's a little cold, but hey, not bad. Luckily for me, the kids got home, we got the car up on the ramps, and Melissa and I just ran out and got rubber wheel chocks. Rubber because the metal, the slide around on metal, the rubber is at least going to be a little stickier there. So I've got the front and back wheel. It's just about ready to lift up. Well, now I can commence work on, well, the underside, so I can get the hydraulic clutch flushed out and get that all done. And the radiator, I can start to get the radiator, or the antifreeze drained out and get the rad out so I can get that record. I can move on to the next steps, and that's great. Then I'll have a running, driving car, and then it's just a matter of getting the bumper back on, the seat back on. This thing should be hopefully up and running in no time. To check the brakes and everything over, of course, but it's really coming along nicely. So thanks for watching again, another episode with me in this car, trying to get it back to roadworthy condition, but getting it started was just phenomenal. To hear that engine start up and to hear how good it sounded. You know, no smoke blown out the back. We had a little smoke blown out the front, but I realized later what that was. When I sprayed all that penetrating oil in, it must have leaked down on the manifold. Anyway, it'll burn itself off or evaporate. I'm not too worried about that, but the engine sounds fantastic. The other good thing was when I took those spark plugs out, the old ones, everything looked just normal, and you know, no signs of major oil or seepage. So I think I might be okay there. So guys, tune in next time for when I get the vehicle lifted up, get the radiator pulled out, and continue on with the renovation, the restoration. I don't want to say restoration because it's really not a restoration. The car already looks pretty decent. I'm just renovating aspects of it to make it a driver again. But we're getting there, slowly but surely we're getting there. Thanks very much for watching today, guys. Stay tuned for more episodes. We'll see you all soon, and as always, bye for now.